Okay, well it's 1 o'clock. I'm basically back on, but it was pointing out to me yesterday probably the reason why the show didn't go so well was because I didn't have a script. There'd been no focus group meetings, or basically I'm not that much of a good personality on my own, so they'd have to get some top writers in to make me look interested and keep the flow running as well. I need a director in my ear, constantly helping me, cueing me, a whole production team behind me basically. So that's today's show. Um, Basically, it wouldn't have been ready in time with all that stuff, and I didn't think it would be genuine to what I'm trying to get across here, really. Um, but anyway, enjoy watching people, TV personalities speak from scripts and things like Apprentice. Enjoy the fact it's in Alan Sugar's office when it's in a studio, people. Um, anyway, I hate to break the illusion, but Wizard of Oz and all that. Right, now, yesterday I went through the fish tank a bit, and I've got it up and running. I found all the necessary bits. I've no idea how that's going to look on there. I think it's just about to see that. Now, the security light behind, as I move the webcam, you can sort of see that. So you can imagine that floating in space. If I just activate the media player here. It's quite difficult actually. It's one of these things which I like. You kind of have to be here to see it properly. You can't really pick it up. There we go. We go. Play. Now this isn't going to be perfect. So I'll open a file first. Okay. Right. That's the idea. Now, let's see what's going on there. So there's all the old computer bits. There's my first little EPC thing. That is not fast enough to show this because the sound would be stuttering, but as it doesn't have sound, it sort of kind of works. Here's the guys coming up. Now, usually it's showed in a different ratio. I don't know if I can be bothered to sort that out. Hang on, let's try it. So I've got to switch it to CRT only. There it is. Then from there, the resolution should change. So I just come out of that and go back into it. That's it. That's the one. That's all the way to the edges of the screen. Right, here comes the little Galaxy Invaders. Here they come. Right, that's enough of that. So, yeah, last night, to be honest, I should have been up till 3:30 writing a script or something, but I didn't. I was out. Being a nice discussion with a couple of friends. Went on to the night, and there was a slip. Someone slipped up big time, and instead of saying relevance, they said revelance. And I thought, wow, what an incredible word. In what probably is relevant in today's society is to revel in your time. Partly because, why not? Those of us who are free of, direct responsibility, obviously don't do anything, can't go too silly, but just why not have a good time if you're in the unfortunate position of being single. I think most people who are happy being single realise they're actually onto quite a good thing. So I've been going through the vinyl, actually done a lot of sorting out there, and got a box here of kind of compilation albums and music soundtracks. things like that. Oh, it's gone straight into the Vectrex. Oh, look at that. You see, it is a computer monitor. It's playing my other film now. No, that's too much. Goodbye. Hold the off button. Goodbye. Right, so I'll just unplug that. Right, so yeah, also the screens in here were oppressive. I think that's why yesterday was really hard for me. I was getting quite down because I'd start to move. I hadn't had TVs in this room for months, and suddenly I had three. One back from Tapescape and one from a friend who gave me this big 32-inch that you used from yesterday's episode. Oh no, the day before I actually had locked it on the front panel, so I can't even control it now. So I sort of get a proper remote. So there's the vinyl under there. There's 12 inches albums. There's some more albums there. Now I had a second go through because I realised that despite liking the records and to keep them, there's a lot that I don't really have an emotional attachment to. So that's the ones at the moment that are probably going. I mean, I'll give you sort of an idea of what's going on here. So JJ, If This Is Love, absolutely beautiful track. The fact that I got the snipped off, that means I probably got that from Ashington. They had like a cheap rail. If there's a song I liked in the charts and it was in the cheap rail, it's probably, I don't know, it'd be about 50p or something. I get it, but I don't really have an emotional contact to that song. It was nice at the time, you know, so they're going to go. I don't know if anyone will want those, buy them or anything, but maybe I'll upload them to a library somewhere. So still to go with the CDs, things like that. Look at that. Very lucky to have one of these. You gently squeeze it at the record, the little crystals build up a static charge, I think, and then you release, and it actually reduces the static charge to a point where there should be no static in the record, and the dust literally drops off. But you know, you've got to get it white with a cloth, of course. What else? Well, it's an exciting day yesterday. I went down to see Emma at Stepping Stone Studios and showed her some of my stuff, and she was quite excited about it, which is always nice because I can't expect people to be amused at me. And today bumped into my mate Craig Turner and found a shop that possibly, if I approach the landlord properly without fooling around too much, he might let me realise my carrot shop idea. I won't say anything more about that. 2 minutes, I've spoken too much about that already. So today I thought I'd do books. So it's just free up the shelves a bit here. Okay, now I do sometimes have to tidy up before the show starts. I haven't done that today. Oh yeah, this little guy. I worked for a company called International Rectifier for a bit. Jokingly, we called it International Rectum Finder. And I was on the moulding machine, which moulds the plastics around the microchips. And once you'd sort of soften them up, you could put them in the machine to be injected into the moulds. But you could also make little things like this. This is the last book I've finished. I've actually started reading a book that I got ages ago by a friend that wrote it, a guy called Rob Shearman. Did a book of tiny deaths. It's lovely, but this kind of blew my mind. It was just one of those ones you pick up in a book exchange or, you know, what have you. No Richard and Judy sticker on it, but it just looked cool. And it's what it says on Time Out. Charles Stross is one of the best at Time Out. And it's very good. It's all about what if, as well as MI5 behind that, was a group that actually looks after all the supernatural things, kind of like X-Files, except for they're going in and they're seriously using nasty voodoo bullshit on the bad guys. You know, sort of using arms off dead corpses to paralyse and all sorts of weird voodoo bullshit. Okay. Alright, okay. Now this book was lent to me by Elizabeth on the course, and I've been doing screen prints, but I've just been doing hundreds of them without doing print runs off my favourite. Say, you know, an artist proof is where you do, say, 10 prints. You try really hard to get them all perfect, and then the best one you take it to the printers and say 100 of these, and you label them one of 100. And the ones you've got left can actually be sold as artist proofs, but you can't keep doing artist proofs, which I thought you could. So that's a few of my prints have gone out under that guise, then Tony in the print room, he's basically said it's one of a series. So you can put one of a series and then you could put a number, but then I don't want to limit the number, so I don't know whether to just put one of a series or just to make... Anyway, that's boring. But it's something for me to sort out, how I'm even going to label the stuff. That's the brochure catalogue for the MA show. This isn't set up, by the way. It looks quite good though. I've got some juicy stuff here. I guess that's because these are the last things that I'm toying around with. This book was at Upper Wallingham Station. They have a little table there where you can put your books down, and if you like the look of one, pick it up, put a bit of money in the charity box, usually put in 50p. Could be a bit more generous than that. This was there. Concertina, The Life and Loves of a Dominatrix. This was awesome. This was great. You know, obviously we learn all about that sort of stuff off porn, but actually read it from a dominatrix point of view and how she gets into it, why she gets into it, you know, what it feels like to give your first fisting, etc. I can really recommend that. I'm actually gonna put that in a pile, because I can live without that now, but I'm gonna put that in a pile of books for friends to sort of have or borrow. One of my friends just said give them all to charity, and then if people like them they can buy them, and then it's kind of, that sounds quite good. I might do that. Uncle Keith is the reason why I read a lot of books that I do. He was 80 recently, and he always had an enormous collection of books, and I'd always ask him, what's good at the moment, Uncle Keith? And he'd say, well, Patricia Cornwell, you can't go wrong. So I've read loads of Patricia Cornwell novels. I think that's one I picked up that I haven't got round to reading yet. I ought to give it another go. She was getting a bit, I don't know, she was getting a bit, well, I can't say samey because it's the same character doing the same thing for books and books and books. So if you like it, like this man's stuff, always a good read, very fast and furious. He was actually the man, he was actually in the SAS, so what he's writing about is stuff that could happen. This one is actually, I think it's actually, now looking at it, it's one of my best. All set in, it's a guy called Nick Stone, and it's set in the Congo, and he goes in and it's got, you know, child soldiers, and he's having to kill them, and oh, you know, because you got, you know, because there's good child soldiers and there's bad child soldiers. You got to remember that it's not all bad child soldiers, but then bad ones, they're not really bad because they're too young to be bad, and even when they try to be made good after they're bad, quite often that doesn't happen because they've been psychologically damaged. Now that's interesting. It's another Charles Stross novel. That's going to be next on the list. So next on the list, I'll chuck that on the airplane seats there. Near to them anyway. Ted Simon, Jupiter's Travels, 4 years around the world on a triumph, a marvellous reading adventure. You see, these ones, I'm just going to keep them there because they're ones I haven't read. I want to get round to sooner or later. That's why I got them. But I just, you know, they're mine for now. Nigel Matt's autobiography. Get around to that. I bet you loads of people have these. If you've had books handed down to you, there will be the Reader's Digest collections. I'm not sure. Oh. I mean, sometimes it's just worth stepping off completely into another realm of comfort zone and just reading something. I think one of the most rewarding times was when I just thought, all these books for women. You know, they're not even marketed to men. They don't even bother. But I'm going to read a couple because I want to know. I want to know why. All sorts of things happen, and I really enjoyed them. Really got into them. Doesn't make you understand anything. Right, cookery book. That is going in the kitchen. I've now got room in there to put all my cookery books. That makes sense. And also I've just put my DAB radio in the kitchen that was in the bedroom because I figure if I'm going to be in there for a long period of time, I ought to listen to Six Music because I'm a bit late coming to Six Music. But yeah, I'm one of those. Save Six Music. It's the best thing. Give us old indie, true music lovers something to listen to. What's that? Tokyo Pop sneaks. Oh, I say. I have no idea where that came from. Bit of manga. Oh yeah, no, I think it came free with a magazine. It came free with a magazine. I think that's gonna... I don't know what to do with that. I guess that'll go on the pile to go somewhere. I haven't read that. You know, it's one of those things where, oh yeah, you've got to read this book, you can become rich. I never got round to reading it. I guess I'll stick that one back up there. Oh, I skipped over one there. That one doesn't belong there. Jack Kerouac, On the Road. Now, people who know me well know that occasionally I do like to drink a bit. I don't drink every night. I don't see the point in drinking at home alone. It's a social thing for me. But occasionally I will drink a few pints together. Like, you know, they say the binge drinking is the worst kind of drinking. Well, that's what I put my body through. And when I travel, there's nothing like meeting people you hardly know, go drinking in the hostel bar or go on a pub crawl. A lot of these cities now do pub crawls where you sign up, you pay whatever, €12, you get the first few drinks free, and then you're on a mission. You're all travelling together, you're all talking, you know, usually because you're abroad and it's a huge range of ages and everything else. You know, nationalities and sexual preferences. Usually there's a good buzz, and everyone kind of be acceptable of everyone else. And you go out and you have a hell-raising time. And I've met some of the most interesting people, and the sort of people I bond with the most are the people that like a drink. And some of the most, my curses, I do often remember what's happened afterwards. Sometimes silly things have happened, but I do remember. Sometimes they make funny stories. And it was all, I hate to use the word, made, my experience was made, sorry, I've got to throw this word in once in a while, authentic by the fact that one of the best, most exciting sort of, what do they call it? It's the Bible of the Beat Generation, there we are. So to know that it's good, you know, he goes to watch wild jazz with wild drinking and wild whatever. It kind of affirms the fact that actually it's not really that bad to do that. I mean, if I look back at my life, the most memorable experiences have been alcohol fueled. And if you think that's sad, then it is. It is sad. You know, it's really sad what happened to Oliver Reed. I think it's tragic that he died of a heart attack in a bar whilst making whatever it was, Gladiator. But I'm sure he had a smile on his face. Alright, that's all I'm going to say. William Woodruff, very good. All about the sort of war things. I think I've read that one. Pretty sure I have. My memory isn't great, actually. John Grisham. So we're getting... I'm not going to go through them all. Arthur Conan Doyle, Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Now, I think I've got the complete collection somewhere, but I'm not going to sort them all out now. I'm going to speed up a bit. This was nice to find this in a charity shop just before I started my course recently, The Cheeky Guide to Student Life. I should pass that on now. If anyone's going to become a student recently, I can highly recommend that. Other books. Oh yes, I used to work with this lovely woman called... Oh, goodness me. Anyway, Sally, that's it, Sally. And she got me into Carl Hiaasen, because we're talking about which authors we like to read. Carl Hiaasen is a very, very funny man. They're complete farces, but they're usually all set in Florida. In fact, I think they're all set in Florida. And, oh yeah, even the Times. Look, the funniest writer of comic crime fiction. I don't know if that's still the case, but that's what the Times say. Let me just pick out a few. Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. Those who watched an early episode would have seen I had a Derek and Clive album, and this is then when they were being clean. All their sort of scripts from various shows and what have you, and of course, you know, Derek and Clive, filthy. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, right. This is what I first got into, science fiction. Okay. And before Star Wars, before I got into Star Wars, I was into science fiction. I'd read a lot of books around that. I really enjoyed old shows like Doctor Who and Blake Seven and all those. Space 1999 is a classic, recently reissued on Blu-ray. My friend Stuart has a copy. It is beautiful to look at. Stories are well written, characterizations great. The only thing that really dates it is the haircuts and the technology used. But if you can look past that, which, to be honest, most people can't these days, can they? Look past the haircuts and the clothes and everything, then you'll get something from it. So then, yeah, moving down. I've got loads of books on music, books on film directors and stuff. He's one of my favourite directors there, John Boorman. Excalibur, for one time, was my favourite film. In fact, I did start to sample bits on my Atari ST. You know, a dream to some, a nightmare to others. Now Merlin, there would have been great to put in a rave track, but I never got around to that. And yeah. Okay, so that's that. Books I've got that date incredibly quickly. Probably one of the reasons why I will inevitably give in and get a smartphone or iPod Touch or something. This bloody Apple. Is this Lonely Planet books. Very good. I know people who use these as a Bible, like their Bible when they travel. And there's like these snobby ones again. Oh, but you never see anything off the beaten track. To be honest, you can still have a good time using these as Bible. It's your Bible. And if you've got enough time, because sometimes, you know, you have got a lot of time, do a few things in here. Get lost in a city, just walk. Have a compass, or most people speak a little bit of English. Point. Don't worry about getting lost. I'm sure there's some cities that you could get into big trouble, but I haven't been to any of those yet. I think I walked across Central Park at night in the early 90s. It was just a rush. But yeah, these books date. Lonely Planets date so quickly. But you know, you can get the online versions, what have you, which are good. So I've got a few annuals of stuff that I like. Art books, books on art, and books with art in them. And having a chat yesterday, because very excited about Stepping Stone Studios in Maidstone, because they're going to be offering workshops. So I'll be able to go to life drawing classes. I think I'll give watercolours a miss, pastels, whatever. You know, I can do it from the book, but to go there and do it with other people, I do sound quite cynical, obviously, a lot of the time. But this is not. This is purely the feeling I got from going in there and the energy from the person, Emma, who's running it. I just thought, my God, thank goodness someone actually gives a shit, you know? There's such little passion in the world today. It's very, very sad. So there we are, a bit of Banksy, lots of artist stuff. So anyway, a lot of those stuff's going to keep. I'm going to have to get rid of a lot of the travel books, I think, the out-of-date ones. It's all these French, English, English, French dictionaries and all that. I'm erring about keeping those. My brain's just not able to cope with remembering picking up the eggs sometimes, and so to actually kind of learn a complete language. But I do try to learn at least hello, goodbye, and thank you. And maybe if I'm really naughty, I'll learn a really cheesy or offensive chat-up line, just for giggles, really. Alright, so that's that. Oh no, one last thing. You see, it's not just annuals for kids shows these days. Look at that. Jack. 24 annual. Think it's over now. I don't think they're going to do any more. To be honest, I think it did run its course. I wouldn't mind another movie, to be honest. It was great. So we've done 26 minutes now. Oh yeah, I haven't selected anything to play out with yet. Okay, right. Let's get the stereo warmed up. Okay. Oh yeah. No, I didn't have my background music on today. You see, this is the thing. I got in about 15 minutes before the setting up, and had a shower. Tried to get my fish tank working before I knew it. The only thing I thought of beforehand was I'd do books, and that I was going to have a go at the way TV programmes now are mostly all scripted and made in studios, even when they're made to look like reality ones. Okay. And lower. Oh, that's not right, is it? Perhaps it is. It's not very good, is it? I was expecting more than that. I think I have to change it. So there might be a better one. Here we are, kids. This is how you change tracks old style. What you got to do is best to line your eye up with there's a little groove on the needle. Line it up with the bit of the record, which is dark black, as much as you can. And depending on what sort of armature you have, you can either push it straight down or go down slowly. This one's got a nice little padding bit, so you can do it straight down. Slowly click straight in the gap, straight onto the track. Oh, that sounds good. Bit crackly. I think I might need to get a new needle for this actually, but they're easy to come by. Right. Maybe I should get someone to do the lighting. I think the lighting is probably important to get someone to do. And that's it. Well, I've enjoyed today quite a lot. I'm very tired, but I feel that I can get on sorting the books a bit now. At least I kind of got a tiny little bit of stuff thrown down there while we're here. Don't worry. I'm okay, folks. I'm okay. Right, see you later. Bye.